Good morning, YouTube. It's 10 a.m. in the great state of Texas, and it's also 58 degrees in the workshop when we're doing this project today. And I think I did this one kind of late at night. Yeah, it was like midnight-ish, or a little bit past noon, I think. I honestly can't remember. But we are doing our last little miniature scrap. Actually, this isn't scrap. This is like from a grab bag of woodworking projects that I've been doing over the past couple of weeks. So this is the last 4x4x2 piece of wood that came in my grab bag, and again, I don't know what this wood is. That's why the title of this video is Woodturning Another Mystery Box. So I'm pretty sure this is ambrosia, but the grain of the wood doesn't look too familiar. It kind of looks like ambrosia, but kind of not really. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. If it's not, I'm sure somebody in the comments will let me know what kind of wood it is. But for the past couple of weeks, we've just been doing these like small little blanks, and they've been turning out pretty good. I think the only one that kind of messed up on us was that black palm one that I tried working with, and that was kind of a complete disaster. But you know, this one goes pretty well. So this one, you know, we end up getting something out of it and just doing our normal thing where we are just punching in some guide holes and then taking our time putting the faceplate on. Because now my biggest concern every time I drill into a block of wood is it cracking and completely ruining the blank, especially on these smaller ones, because there's not a whole lot of material there to begin with. So when I'm doing this, I'm kind of worried that it's just going to fracture and crack, and I'm just going to have to waste more time gluing that up or putting epoxy in it or just doing something other than wood turning. So, but that's just kind of part of the process, I guess. And I've been looking for some more grab bag wood pieces to work with, but so far no luck. I think once it starts warming up here in Texas, I can start going back to epoxy projects. I've been putting out a lot of just different random projects that I've been working around in the garage. There was another bonus video that I put out on Friday with just some scrap pine, but that one looked really good. Go back and watch my last video. That one turned out pretty good. So once we got this bad boy onto the lathe itself, and then we just started working it down a little bit. And from what I remember, the chisels went fairly easy on this one. Not a whole lot of issues here, just coming back, making it nice and round, just trying to save as much as material as we possibly can. You can see here just taking the square carbide tool, and it basically takes no time at all to square this up and get this nice and round so that we can just flip it around on the wood chuck, or the chuck. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, look at this grain of this wood. I'm pretty sure this is ambrosia. I've worked with ambrosia a couple of times before, and you kind of get this weird texture to it. It's kind of, it's got some moisture trapped in it, definitely. And the reason why I know that is because the first ambrosia bowl I ever worked with was a 6x6x3 piece that was a blank, and I ended up wood turning it. It turned out really well, and then like a couple of months later, or actually I had noticed it early on within a couple of weeks of it being inside the house, it started to dry and warp, and it ended up cracking pretty significantly. So that's why I'm pretty sure that this one is ambrosia, just kind of based on what the wood grain looks like. But overall, we're just going to keep going, and hopefully this one doesn't crack on us later. But making the mortise, just sizing that up. You can see the wood grain there a little bit. I really like the color of the grain, though. Like usually with ambrosia, it's a little bit lighter, but this one had a lot of tiger striping in it, which you'll see a little bit later in the video. But now we're just taking the parting tool, and I'm doing another lid because 2024 is the year of the lids. And just separating the main body from what will eventually become the lid of the bowl. And here's the aerial view from the blimp. And problem is, I think my Nova Comet lathe is on its last legs, unfortunately. I've had this thing for over 5 years, and I'm not even sure how long a lathe is supposed to last, and I've done pretty good maintenance on it. Actually, that's a complete lie. I've beat this thing to hell, but I feel like all the stuff I've gone through with this lathe, it's held up pretty good from all the, you know, abuse that I've kind of put it through. But so far it's still going strong, so we're going to keep it, you know, in rotation until it absolutely gives out on us. But I can tell that even when I ramp it up all the RPMs, it still is struggling to spin that piece of wood that's attached to it. But I've got an idea of what kind of lathe I want to get in the future. I just need to upgrade my little workshop here to 220 voltage. And then we'll see, maybe next year or the year after. Again, we're going to ride this one until the wheels fall off of it. So That's the plan. So this is the main body here, and once we got that shape down, you can just see how little of the material that there actually is. And I'm just barely trying to make a mortise out of it so that it doesn't, that I have something left to kind of work with. But we ended up sanding it. We went from 50 to 80 grit on this one, and I can already see the wood grain looking really, really good on this. But there's just not a lot of material to work with. And I remember getting a grab bag that were larger blanks, and for some reason I can't find that anymore on Amazon, because that's usually where I pick these pieces of wood up from. But this one looks pretty good, but I'm just not happy about the size of it. But you can see it's like a biscuit at this point, and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's nothing left. But we're gonna make it work, because that's what we do on this channel, just work the problem. So here we are, got it flipped over, it's inside the chuck, and my biggest concern is that I'm going to punch through all the way to the mortise itself, and I'm just really taking my time trying for that not to happen. And surprisingly, it didn't go all the way through, but this part literally took minutes to do, not even, because there was such little material to work with here. But it's a cool little dish, and you can see here, just trying to get a feel for how further I could go with it. But overall, I'm going, okay, cool, that works. And then we're just going to go ahead and sand it again, 50 grit all the way up to 80. Not spending a whole lot of time with the sanding, just doing a lot of work as far as just trying to save as much material as possible, but smooth it out as much as we can as well. And then we'll start the actual lid portion of it. And these lids have gotten a little bit better. I've gotten a lot quicker about making them. But you can see here, those 4 punch holes are still in there. So all I'm doing is taking some wood glue instead of epoxy this time, sprinkling some dust in there, and then we're just going to fill those gaps the best we can. And I was using the 15-minute epoxy, and I didn't realize, I should have read the instruction, because I've been using that epoxy for a long time, that JB Weld takes 24 hours to actually set up. And here I am thinking 15 minutes is going to be great, and it just doesn't work out that way. If you guys saw my popsicle stick video from a couple of weeks back, I end up having that problem. But here I am just trying to fill those gaps as best I can, and just trying to cover those up, because they kind of don't look aesthetically pleasing. But now we're working on to the lid portion of it, and now we're just trying to get everything nice and balanced and round, and then we're going to come back, make a mortise, flip it over, make a dome, and then we'll be done with this one. But the concerning part, just like the previous couple of videos we've done, it's so small. There's such little material to work with, and this part just took longer than it should have, because I should have realized, hey man, there's not enough material to work with, maybe not make a lid with this one. But the good thing about doing these finer detail type projects is that you get to work on the detail work that kind of goes into some of these smaller projects. So you got to be a lot more patient with the chisels and the materials, so you're not attacking it and you're sizing it up just right. But once you sand it down, it kind of just loosens the lid a little bit. So no matter how well you do this part, once you sand it, it kind of takes away from it just a little bit. But start, stop, start, stop. Eventually we got to a nice part where we were. Now we're just going to punch through, make a mortise, and then flip it over, and then we can start the actual making of the dome portion of it. And then we'll be done. So not a whole lot to it. But I've been putting out a lot more videos lately on the channel, I don't have anything stacked for next week. I actually have to work on next week's project, but I just want to start putting out a lot more content on the channel, because once it starts to warm up here in Texas, I'm going to start making a lot more projects, because doing things in the wintertime is not fun. Plus, Texas only has 2 temperatures, cold and hot, and there's like a 2 to 3 week period where the temperature is just right, and you can get in the shop. Because if you saw my videos from last year, it gets so hot in the workshop it melts the epoxy. So I'm trying to might find this nice medium of where I can just get in and do a lot of projects. But you can see there's the cool tiger shaping. I'm pretty sure this is ambrosia. Almost positive it is. But I'm pretty sure somebody will correct me in the comments. And by the way, thanks for everybody that leaves comments on my videos. I really appreciate even the haters who leave some really wild comments. Thank you guys. You guys definitely help boost the algorithm a little bit. But thank you again. But here we are, finished project. The sanding is pretty much done. And now all we're gonna do is come back, do some touch-up work, get this cleaned up, and then we're gonna polish it up and then do our signature light bright peg on the top, and then we'll really be done. But this is the workbench all messed up. So here we are. All I'm doing is just regular wood wax with this. I decided against doing the whole Shellac wax and the whole Yorkshire grit. For these smaller ones, I think it just is, there's no need to do all that other extra polishing, in my opinion. It doesn't really add much, in my opinion, to it. But this looks really good. Once you put the moisturizer and the wood wax on there, you can really see the grain of the wood just really pops, and it really makes this cool aesthetic look to it, and it looks really good, in my opinion. And I can't wait to be done with these white fiber cloths that I bought. They junk up all of my woodworking projects, and I'm almost worked through all of them. I'm going to go back to my regular shop towels. But wood looks really beautiful. I love how this looks, and just getting that in there into the wood, soaking that up, really makes it look beautiful, in my opinion. But again, really fun project. This was the last of the wood blanks that I have laying around. So now we're just going to finish it up, putting a light bright peg in there, using our 15-minute epoxy, and me trying not to crack the lid before I ended up actually finishing it. And having trouble with the drill because I'm not a good woodworker, so lots and lots of problems. But that's what we ended up doing there, and we're just going to add some glue, and finally I just took the damn lid off and just drilled right through it. Boom, problem solved. And once we glue it up, then we'll be absolutely finished. But thanks to everybody that's leaving a comment. Thanks to everybody just watching these videos. I really appreciate the support. The channel's grown a whole bunch over the past couple of months, and hopefully that keeps going. But hope you guys like this week's project. I hope you guys are having a good spring so far. This one comes out on Sunday, the last Sunday of spring break. But here we are, final project, or final reveal, I guess. But overall, happy how this turned out. There's that damn micro cloth. But hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, guys. Peace. Alright, so project is done, and check out this little guy. So I'm a little dusty. I'm pretty sure that this is ambrosia. Maybe the grain looks a little different. I'm sure I went over in the commentary. It kind of looked like that black palm with the way the grain and everything was initially when I looked at it, but I'm pretty sure this is ambrosia. But it's a cool little dish though. This wood looks absolutely beautiful. Love how this looks. I wish this was bigger, obviously, but maybe in the future we'll get a bigger one. But overall, really happy how this turned out. Just got this, the grain on it is really rough. Sorry, I'm trying to get I do not get those like fiber towels, not worth it. Don't do it. At least that'd be my recommendation. But overall, really happy how this thing turned out. You can see the little, peg on top. That might be my calling card signature. I don't know, if I ever get good enough at this so people, want to buy these things, that might just be my signature. Be like, oh, a little light bright peg. It's cute. But we'll probably do some different type of, things in the future. But overall, really happy how this one turned out. Really easy. Didn't give me a whole lot of problems. But anyway, another project done. Hope everybody's having a good Sunday and or whatever day of the week it is when you're watching this. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace.